Welcome to Real Relief for Sleep and module number 2, and we're going to be covering information about the bedroom environment and light exposure during this module. So let's get in and talk about section number 1, your sleep environment. Now remember, there's 8 root causes of poor sleep that we're covering in this course. And so the first 2 that we're going to be covering in this module is the bedroom environment and light exposure. So remember in module 1, we talked about the sleep-wake system and how it's regulated by 2 major processes, that sleep-inducing system and the hyperarousal inducing system. Well, when we think about sleep, that sleep-inducing system, we want to create an environment that is restful and calm and safe. And that's one of the ways that we can improve and strengthen that sleep-inducing system. We don't want to be stimulated at night, and we don't want to feel unsafe, because that's going to release a lot of those stimulatory, arousing hormones, okay, like cortisol and adrenaline. Right? So sleep is a very vulnerable state to be in, okay? In the past, when people slept outside, when they were asleep, when there was wild animals around, it was very vulnerable to be in that state, because when you're in deep sleep, you aren't aroused very easily. So we want our sleep, when we're sleeping, we want to be in a state, in an environment that we feel safe, because it's unfortunately a vulnerable state to be in when we're sleeping. Okay, so my first question to you is your bedroom a calm, restful and safe place to sleep? Okay, just in general, do you feel calm in your bedroom, and is it safe to be in? So as always, you've got checklists and questions to work through in your workbook when it comes to this module. So please make sure that you've got your workbook out and turn to module number 2. So let's specifically now talk about your bedroom and go through a number of questions, so it can highlight to you where in your bedroom environment you need to work on. Now, for some people, they'll say, oh, I've done all this stuff before, okay? And I mean, yes, some of this is elementary, but I needed to make sure that I was creating a course that was comprehensive for everybody. But I do know that there is information in this module that I think is going to be new for most people. So it's always good and prudent just to go through and make sure you're doing everything right and checking it all off. So even if you feel like you know this information, I encourage you to journey with me through these different modules. If you don't want to listen to the content, perhaps you could just work through all the checklists in the workbook, and then you can identify areas from there that you might not have thought about before. Okay, so when it comes to your bedroom environment, we're going to consider how restful your environment is by looking at what you see, or thinking about what you see, you feel, you hear, and you smell. Okay, so firstly, I want you to look around your room, your bedroom. What do you see, and how does it make you feel? Does it stress you out? How do the images on your wall make you feel? Are they restful? Are they calming, or are they more stimulating? Is your bedroom organised and clutter-free? Or are there piles of paperwork or washing hanging around? If your bedroom's full with work to do and, shoulds and musts, it's going to be stressful, and you're not going to feel calm when you lie down to bed at night. And also, what is the colour of the walls in your bedroom? And is it a calming colour? So the colours that are very stimulating are red and purple and dark grey and black. So those are all colours that you should be avoiding on your walls, okay? And orange too. But the calming colours are blue and green and white and cream and even beige. Okay, so you want to be surrounded by calming colours so that you feel relaxed at night. Now we're going to talk about what you feel, and that's not your emotional feeling, but your physical feeling in your body, in your bedroom. Okay, so we're going to cover your bed, your pillow, your bedding, your bedclothes, and the temperature as well, just briefly. So here's some questions to highlight these areas might be a concern for you. So is your bed uncomfortable? Well, that would be the first thing you should do to improve your sleep. Get a new bed. Is your bed older than 7 years old? Then it's likely you need a new bed or at least a new topper on your bed. Are you disturbed by your partner? Is your bed not big enough? Consider getting a king size so there's at least more room between you and your partner so that your sleeping isn't affected so much. Secondly, let's think about your pillow. Do you wake up with a kink in the neck? Okay. There's no rules on how to pick a pillow, but for people that sleep on their back or their front, probably a flatter pillow is recommended. And if you sleep on your side, then a thicker and firmer pillow is recommended. So the thickness would be preferably the distance between your ear and the outside of the shoulder. So you don't, so you make sure that your neck and your head are aligned properly. Okay. So if you wake up with a kink in your neck, it's probably showing that maybe you should consider a different type of pillow, maybe something a bit more supportive for you. When it comes to bedding, it's all about being comfortable, okay, and breathing properly and good temperature control. So the 3 count for your sheets should be between 200 and 400. If it's any less than 200, the sheets are likely to be rough and irritating. So do the touch test. Okay, just make sure it feels nice to the touch, right? You should choose natural fibers like cotton and silk and linen and bamboo, all right, because these are going to breathe better. And for some people, synthetics aren't very good for them, and that can stimulate their body. Okay. And so when it comes to your bedding, something that you may or maybe not heard about before is something called weighted blankets. Okay, and weighted blankets can be very good for sleep. They're basically a therapeutic blanket, a very heavy blanket, but it's a therapeutic one that weighs between 2.5 and 15 kilograms. Okay. They're filled with glass beads or plastic beads, metal beads or metal chains, or even river rocks. Okay. And many are available commercially, but you can make them out of river rocks or plastic beads yourself if you're on a budget. Okay. My recommendation is to use natural products. So glass beads and bamboo material, because these are very helpful for temperature control and to stop you overheating. So how do these weighted blankets work? So they're very heavy. They're really similar to deep pressure stimulation, which uses firm controlled pressure to induce a feeling of calm. Really, you can think about it as just similar to a hug. And you know how you swaddle a baby when in blankets when they are young, and it helps them, give them the feeling of calm and safety. That's kind of what a weighted blanket will do for you. So it increases the parasympathetic nervous system and decreases the sympathetic nervous system. So that means it increases calm and reduces that fight and flight response. The weighted blankets also increase oxytocin, and oxytocin is a bonding or love hormone, and this is known to reduce cortisol and has sedative anti-anxiety effects and increases your pain threshold too. So weighted blankets can be very good for people with restless legs or fibromyalgia or different pain conditions. So weighted blankets haven't been around for too long, but there is a little bit of scientific evidence supporting them now. So here's a randomized control trial in which they used a weighted blanket versus a light blanket, and participants had major depression, anxiety disorder, ADHD, or bipolar disorder. And when they used the weighted blankets, their insomnia severity index was reduced by 57%. Okay, what this meant is they had an improved ability to stay asleep. They had higher daytime activity level, so more energy and alertness. And they had decreased fatigue, depression, and anxiety. And those levels were, the drop was between 25 and 42%. Amazing, eh? That your anxiety can drop, your depression can drop just by using a weighted blanket, as well as improved sleep. And these changes were experienced within 1 week, and the benefits were maintained long term too. So if you haven't tried a weighted blanket, I'd highly recommend it, especially if you have anxiety or depression or restless legs or fibromyalgia. I think waking through the night would be a good reason to get weighted blanket as well. So another thing you have to think about when it comes to the feeling on your body is your bed clothes. Again, use, you might call them pajamas, I'd call them pajamas, but choose natural fibers like cotton and silk and linen and bamboo. Now, my father had a lot of food intolerances, and something he couldn't handle was wearing pajamas that were made out of synthetic materials and had bright dyes, because it affected his sleep and it affected his muscles too. So it's going to be a recommendation, and I suggest for you to be aware of that synthetic materials might not be good for you and for your sleep. And so to avoid them due to the chemicals and also temperature regulation. Another thing when it comes to what to wear when you're going to sleep is there's actually scientific evidence to say that you'll improve your sleep if you wear socks to bed. Okay, it can reduce the time it takes to get to sleep and improve sleep quality and quantity. So that's a very simple trick that you can follow to improve your sleep. Now, when it comes to temperature, obviously you don't want your bedroom too hot or too cold, because that's going to affect your sleep. The ideal temperature for your room is 18.3 degrees Celsius or 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, in winter you probably heat your house. So what my recommendation is that during the winter you actually open the window an hour before bed to reduce the temperature slightly in your room, and this will help you go to sleep better. You can also review your sleep diary to see if the temperature of the room is affecting you. Do you wake up at a particular time each night? And does this relate to a drop in temperature? And maybe you need to have a heater that works on a thermostat just to keep your bedroom constant. I know it's a bit of an obvious one, but it's good to think about even these obvious things and make sure you're doing what's right. Now, the third thing we want to think about with your bedroom environment is your sound and the sound and the noise going on around you. So is your bedroom environment noisy? Yes or no? Maybe the neighborhood's noisy around you. Do you use a washing machine, dryer, or dishwasher at night? Okay. You might not realize, but that whirring noise may either help you or hinder your sleep. Is your bedroom environment too quiet? So for some people with anxiety, or you have a tendency to ruminate or have racing mind, it might actually not be very helpful for you to have a quiet, silent bedroom environment. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Have you tried wearing earplugs before? And have you tried white or pink noise? Okay, so the answers to the questions are going to help you figure out what you can do to improve your sleep. Okay. So white noise and pink noise is really a repetitive background noise that can help lull your body into sleep. All right. it's usually something like a fan or water that is rain on the lake or a cat purring. Okay, there's many different sounds that you can use. But it can be very helpful for anyone that's in a very noisy environment. Okay, and there's studies to show that it's helpful, you know, if you're in hospital, and also if you're in the city and it's very, very noisy. Okay, as I said, my other suggestion is that if you're not very good at being in silence, that white noise or pink noise could be helpful because it helps turn off the brain. Okay. It can help turn off the brain if your brain's always on. Okay, so white and pink noise can help you fall asleep 38% faster and helps you stay asleep too. So there's phone apps that you can just download on your phone, all right? And my suggestion would be try a phone app first because then it doesn't cost you anything. And you see if you like having noise going on as you sleep. My daughter uses it. She likes rain on the lake, okay? And it's just this noise can help when your brain is kind of in overdrive, and it gives your brain something to concentrate on. Okay, and also when you wake up in the middle of the night, having some background noise can help lull your brain and your body back to sleep, all right, rather than silence and kind of open up this opportunity for your brain to start working and thinking again. All right, so you can use a machine as well with white noise, and it's good if you don't like having your phone in your bedroom, and it's definitely good for having it for children. And my suggestion is when you're picking a machine is ensure you have one that has a variety of sounds, okay, and you want one that can work on a timer. Okay, for some people they just want it going as they're going to sleep, and so you want to turn it off within, you know, an hour. Whereas other people want the noise to go through the night so that when they wake up in the middle of the night, that white or pink noise is still running. Okay, so they can, which will help them lull them back to sleep. Okay, make sure there's no light pollution. We'll be talking about that in the next section, but make sure that you're not exposed to any light from the phone app or the machine. So finally, we'll talk about smell. Are there any distinct smells in your room? Okay. Is washing powder of the linen or clothes irritating you? Does your perfume or body wash or your partner's perfume or body wash, can you smell that at night? You might not realize, but it could be kind of be stimulatory for you and keeping your body awake. So you want to minimize the smells as much as possible, especially flatulence or cooking odors. All right, so make sure you're airing out your room to ensure you don't have a lot of smells around that are irritating or stimulating to you, so you can get a good night's sleep. All right, so before we go on to the next section, I just want to stop and apply this to your life. Okay, and write this in your workbook. Answer these questions. Is your bedroom environment calming and safe? Do you feel safe? And do you feel calm when you come into your bedroom? Do you feel comfortable in bed? Okay. Have you got a good pillow? Are your sheets nice and smooth? Do you have a heavy blanket that gives you a nice hug? Have you tried a weighted blanket before? If not, as I said, it can be very, very helpful. And it's a one-time investment too. Do you live in a noisy neighbourhood? Or is your mind busy at night and does it struggle to slow down? If you said yes to this one, the white noise app or the white noise machine would be a good option to try. Cool. Well, now we're going to go on to section number 3, in which we're going to talk about light, the new pollutant, and how it can be impacting your sleep. Okay, Thomas Edison said the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will instruct his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Well, did you know that Thomas Edison was the one that invented the light bulb? And I'm sure, and he said that doctors will be instructing people on the prevention of disease. Well, unfortunately, exposure to missed-time light is one of the most preventable environmental causes of disease. I'm sure he would have been heartbroken to know that although the light bulb and electricity can be used for good, it can also be impacting our health and impacting our sleep. And sleep, as we saw in module number 1, has a huge impact on our long-term health risks like blood pressure and weight gain and cardiovascular disease and stroke. Okay. So remember, light is key to our daily cycles. It tells our body whether it's night or day. It's pretty obvious, right? But light is detected through the eyes and picked up by the pineal gland. And the pineal gland secretes melatonin when there's darkness. So melatonin is a sleep promoter and a regulator of our circadian rhythms. We want to do everything that we can to promote its creation, its production. Okay. So darkness stimulates melatonin production. Remember, darkness, complete darkness. Whereas exposure to light stops melatonin being produced. And blue light suppresses melatonin the most. So blue light is produced by a lot of our devices. So our computers, our phones, our TVs, our light bulbs. Okay, so we need to stop exposure to that blue light in the evening time. But keep in mind that lighting is not all bad. It can actually be beneficial for sleep. What's important is the type and timing of lighting. Okay. So is light good or bad? Well, some of them are good and some of them are bad, and it really just depends at what time of the day as well that you're exposed to it. Okay, so as I said, blue light has an impact on the circadian rhythm, right? Exposure to blue and white. So really blue light's not necessarily the color that you see as blue, but it's usually just your normal white light that you see, and it's got the wavelength of blue light in it. You might not be able to see it, but it's there. Okay, and exposure to this blue light before bed and during the night can make it difficult for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. All right, and it comes from fluorescence lights, LED lights, backlit electronic screens. But do keep in mind that you can actually buy special light bulbs that filter out the blue light for nighttime use. Okay, and I'll be talking a little bit about that later. So, but keep in mind that white light or blue light during the day can have a positive effect on alertness or mood. So we don't want white light or blue light at nighttime or in the evening, but during the day it can have a positive effect on our mood. Red light has no effect on the circadian clock, so you can use dim red light at night with no effect on your sleep. So these will be the night lights that you want to use, would be red. Okay. Yellow and orange lights have little effect on the circadian clock, and you can use dim yellow or orange lights or the sunglasses in the evening with no effect on your sleep. So rather than just talking about light in general, we need to talk about lighting at 3 particular times of the day: 2 hours before bed, nighttime, and the daytime. So we're going to look at these all separately. Okay. So 2 hours before bed, you want to signal to the body that it's time to go to bed. And we need to do this by lowering the brightness and quantity of light exposure. Okay, so we want to make melatonin, therefore we don't want to stop it by being exposed to light. And as I said, we need to compensate for our technology, because when you're camping, you have very little light around, right? And that's what it used to be like, and that's what our bodies have been created for, is just going to bed with the sun and waking up with the sun. So now we need to actually turn off some of this technology. So turn out the lights in the house that aren't required 2 hours before bed. Dim your lights if possible if you have a dimmer function. Use lamps that have dimmer functions, or use lamps that have light bulbs that have reduced wattages or blue light filters. Okay, in our workbook, at the end of that, there's a list of resources, and some of them, one of them is blue light filtered light bulbs. Okay. Also, 2 hours before bedtime, you can use bedside lamps rather than, turn off all the lights above you and then just have lights on the side. And you could use red lamps, lamps or light bulbs there, or blue light filtered light bulbs in those bedside lamps, or you could use a reading light if you read books at night. Have all the other lights off except that reading light. Okay. And consider buying blue light filtered lighting or a separate lamp for the bathroom if you use it 2 hours before bed. So one of the things that I've picked up with my clients is I talk to them about their bedtime routine. And some of them will say, I have a shower. And it's really great to have a shower or a bath before bed because it's relaxing, right? But the problem is I realized that most of them just have normal lighting in the bathroom, and the lighting in the bathroom is often very, very bright. And so, you're getting ready for bed, you're calming down, you go and have a shower or a bath, and you turn on these bright lights. And it's essentially telling your body it's daytime, but you're actually supposed to be getting ready for bed. So this is actually a very big key. And I've picked it up a lot with my clients. So think about your routine and what you're doing in those 2 hours before bed, and make sure you're adjusting the lighting accordingly. Maybe, as I said, buy a blue light filtered light, or maybe a red lamp for the bathroom if you're using it that 2 hours before bed. So be careful with even moments of bright light. Turning on the light for 1 minute will suppress your melatonin levels. Okay, it's like you go to the toilet in the middle of the night and you turn the bright light on, or as I said, you have a shower before bed, you turn the bright lights on. You're telling your body it's daytime, and you're confusing your circadian rhythm, your daily internal body clock. So 2 hours before bed, clean up your screen usage and exposure to blue light. So don't use screens for 2 hours before sleep, okay? So no TV, no social media on your phone, no reading a book on your phone, okay? If you can't, that is the ideal. But if you can't do that, then again, let's compensate. Wear red or amber glasses to block the blue light, okay? That's one suggestion. Turn down the brightness on the screens of your phone or your TV at night so it's not so bright. Okay. Also add a blue light filter to your TV, and download blue light filter apps on your iPad, your computer, or other screens. Okay. So I've got this in the resource list as well, but there is a smartphone app for Android called the Twilight, and that's a good one. And then I think it's called Night Shifter for the iPhones that you can put on. So automatically, 8 o'clock at night, your phones move to having that blue light filter on. Okay. Here's a study that I thought was very interesting, and it shows that if you just reduce the brightness on your phone, you can improve your melatonin levels, okay? So this has got nothing to do with blue light filters. This is just turning the brightness down so it's not glaringly bright in your face, okay? So it was done on an iPhone 7, and when it was on full display brightness, it reduced a measure of melatonin called melanopsin by 67%. Okay, so full brightness reduced melatonin by 67%. Okay, but when they turn the brightness of the display down, the reduction in that marker of melatonin, the melanopsin, was only 1%. Okay, so just this change in your habits alone could improve your melatonin and improve your sleep, just turning down that brightness on your phone. So we've talked about this stage 2 hours before bed. Are you turning the lights off? Are you dimming the lights? Are you avoiding screens and turning the brightness down and using blue light filters? Okay, but what about during the night? Okay, you want to aim for complete darkness in your bedroom. Okay, don't have any electronics, don't have any, clocks that have lights glaring at you. So remove or turn off your electronics if you can, or tape over any standby buttons. Okay, so your phone charger or your TV charge or your computer if you've got it in your room. So reduce all light, okay, and use blackout curtains so you're not having any light coming into your room from the outside. And if you can't do any of that, then use an eye mask. Remember how I said that light is picked up by the pineal glands through the eyes, and how even when your eyes are closed, the light can go through your eyelids to the pineal glands. Okay, so a black eye mask is highly recommended if you can't black out your whole room. And just a few other hints for during the night time. If you get up during the night, do not turn on the light. Okay, as I said, light during the night will tell your body that it is daytime. Do not use a night light in your room. Okay, you don't want any extra light. If you do need to get up during the night, consider dim hallway lighting, and ideally they should be red, okay, to help you get to the bathroom. Okay, the red light won't affect your melatonin production. Okay. Also, you could get red light bulbs or lamps or night lights in your living room or your bathroom if necessary, if you do get up during the night. Okay. Cool. Now we'll switch to talking about the daytime, and I think this is something that people would have overlooked. This is probably something new for most people. So to help your circadian rhythm, first thing in the morning, you want to expose yourself to bright light. Okay, go outside in the sunshine, or if you can't do that because you're in it's winter where you live, or where you live there's the extended long nights and very, very short days, what you want to consider is buying special wake-up lighting, and you could put that in your bathroom if your bathroom is somewhere that if you go to the bathroom during the day and during the morning. So you're going to have to figure out when you use the bathroom the most and what's going to be helpful for your circadian rhythm, either the blue light filtered light or the wake up lighting or the red lights in the bathroom. But think about that. So you can either wake yourself up in the morning using outside sunshine, which doesn't cost you anything, either special wake up lighting, or thirdly, bright light therapy lamps. Okay, so these are bright lamps, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. And this is nearly as important as reducing light at night. Okay, I think this one is really overlooked, but having daytime light first thing in the morning is especially important for people with depression or fatigue if you're finding it difficult to wake up in the morning. And this is really helpful for training your circadian rhythm. Now I want to talk about bright light therapy in a minute, but first I just want to talk about different light sources, okay, because then that's going to help us understand bright light therapy and also, exposing ourselves to different light at different times of the day. Okay, so the measure of light is a lux, okay? And if you go out into direct bright sunlight and you look directly into the sun, the bright light's going to be around 100,000 lux. If you go outdoors and you're not in direct sunlight, but you're getting the ambient outdoor light, the level is between 10,000 and 25,000 lux. On a cloudy day, outdoors light's only 1,000 lux. So if it's winter and you're going outside and looking into the sun, you can see you're not getting a lot of strong sun, okay? And as I said, the strong sun tells your body, hey, it's morning time, and so we want to get the strong sun on your eyeballs, okay? Indoor light is only 300 to 500 lux. Okay, so if you're saying, I wake up in the morning and I turn the lights on, that's enough. Well, if you compare the measure of sunlight and light to the indoor lighting, indoor lighting has very little brightness, doesn't it? So that's why it's important you go outside into the sun or use specific special lighting to wake you up in the morning. Just for reference, moonlight is only 1 lux. Okay, so there's a big difference between moonlight and sunlight, and their strength and intensity. So I just wanted to give you that background before I talked about bright light therapy. So you might have heard about bright light therapy, but it's also known as light therapy, light exposure therapy, circadian light therapy, and phototherapy. And it's really more well known in the area of mental health and depression, okay? And bright light therapy uses exposure to artificial light to treat health conditions. And as I said, depression and seasonal affective disorder, called SAD, is probably the most popular when it comes to bright light therapy, but insomnia can be treated with this as well as dementia. So it helps strengthen and reset the circadian rhythms. All right, so what is this bright light therapy? Well, basically, a person sits in front of a specialized device that emits strong light that mimics outdoor light, but without the harmful UV rays. So you can see that lady there sitting in front of the light, and the light just shines onto her face, through her eyelids into her eyes, and then her pineal gland can pick up that it's daytime, okay? But it's not just any light, it's a specialized device, all right? So you sit about 40 centimeters from the light and you look in the direction of the light, but you don't have to look straight into it, as long as the light is shining on your face, okay? And there needs to be a specific lux level. As I said, lux is the measure of light intensity. Okay, and for insomnia, for depression and SAD, we need 10,000 lux for 30 minutes in the morning. Okay, so you going outside on a cloudy day, which is, 1,000 lux, looking into the sun for 2 minutes is not going to cut it, really. This is showing, for depression and insomnia anyway. Okay. So, I really just wanted to bring the topic of bright light therapy up because I think it's really overlooked in the treatment of insomnia and even in mood disorders, okay? And it's very, very helpful, okay? So let's stop again and consider a few questions. Get out your workbook. So what are the sources of light that you are exposed to 2 hours before bed or during the night, okay? Do you watch TV? Do you get your phone out? Do you go to the bathroom, when you're brushing your teeth or when you're having a bath or having a shower? Or you're just sitting outside and, out in the lounge watching TV and your bright lights, from above you, okay? Or even in your bedroom, just sitting there reading a book with all the lights on during the night, before bed, okay? Think about which ones you can minimize, okay? With getting different light bulbs, blue light, filtered light bulbs, turning them off, using lamps. And do you have a shower in the morning or night? Okay. Do you use the bathroom at night and turn the lighting on? So this might be when you're brushing your teeth, or it might be when you're having a shower. That's going to really affect your ability to go to sleep, can calm your body down and affect your melatonin production. So is there a need to fit the bathroom with blue light filtered light bulbs for the evening, or have a red night light for during the night time? Okay. So it's very easy to buy an extra light bulb for the bathroom, or a red light light bulb, or an extra lamp for the bathroom that you can use in the evenings. But it could make a huge difference. So do you have morning fatigue or depression? And are you inside most of the time and aren't exposed to sunlight? Well, if you've answered yes to either of these, I would highly recommend buying a bright light therapy lamp, okay, and spending 30 minutes every morning, maybe when you're eating your breakfast, or if you work at a desk, you can easily put that bright light lamp on next to you. Okay, but this on its own could improve your mood and help you wake up in the morning, and definitely reset your circadian rhythm so that you can go to sleep easier and stay asleep. So now we're just going to wrap up module number 2, and make sure that you review your answers to the questions to consider that we've discussed as we've gone through this module. It's going to highlight to you the areas that you can work on, okay, and that is going to improve your sleep. So review your bedroom environment and highlight the areas that you can improve. As I said, there's checklists in our workbook that are really helpful, that will help you identify what things that you could change. Review your light exposure, okay? Minimize your light exposure before and during bedtime. Some of the things you could consider doing is wearing amber or red sunglasses before bed. Consider blue light apps on your phone and your computer. Consider reduced wattage lights or blue light filtered light bulbs for your bedroom. And consider blue light filtered light bulbs in your bathroom or lamps. Consider a red night light in your bedroom, your bathroom, your kitchen, or your lounge. So if you're getting up during the night or using the bathroom just before bed. Using blackout curtains or face masks to make sure that your bedroom is super dark when you're in bed. And using bright light therapy lamps or wake up lights for the morning is really going to be helpful for anyone that finds it hard to wake up in the morning, or has fatigue or low mood. So remember those, the workbook bedroom and lighting checklist. Make sure you go through that, and there's some resource list there to help you figure out where you can buy blue light filtered light bulbs and red light bulbs and different forms of sunglasses and things like that. We've just done that for you to make it easier, so you don't have to search where you can find them and looking for good products. We've found some good products for you. So we just have 4 questions before we go on to the next module, and I'd like you to answer these. And maybe you have to go through those checklists, but these are good review questions. So what areas in your bedroom environment seem to need the most attention? Is it the stimulation from what you see around you? Is it what you feel, your bed, your sheets, your blankets? Is it the temperature in your room or the smells in your room? What changes could you make to improve your bedroom environment? Is it decluttering it? Is it changing the colour on the walls? Is it changing the images on the walls so that they're more calming for you? What category of light exposure seems to need the most attention? 2 hours before bed, during night time, or the beginning of the day? And what changes could you make to improve your light exposure in those areas? Is it just turning things off? Is it the blue light filtered lamp, blue light filtered apps? Is it dimming your screen? Is it just avoiding screens 2 hours before bed. So all of these things, even just one of these things, can have an impact on your sleep. If you do all of these, I know that it's going to have a profound impact on your sleep and help you get your sleep back. So after you've answered those questions in your workbook, I will see you in module number 3, where we're going to talk about your diet and ways that you can improve it so that you can get a refreshing night's sleep. I'll see you there.